When most people finish watching Bramayugam, they remember the terrifying atmosphere, Mammootty's chilling performance, and the supernatural mystery surrounding the mansion. But I believe the film is trying to tell us something much deeper. Beneath its horror elements lies a philosophical exploration of power, domination, freedom, and the way evil sustains itself through human weakness rather than supernatural strength. The Chathan may be the face of horror, but the real subject of the film is the nature of power itself. One of the most important symbols in the movie is the mansion itself. At first, the mansion appears to be a refuge. Thevan has escaped slavery. He is starving and he has nowhere else to go. Kodumon Potti welcomes him with food, gives him shelter, and even appreciates his singing. For a brief moment, both Thevan and the audience feel relieved. However, this apparent kindness slowly reveals itself to be another form of imprisonment. The cook quietly warns Thevan not to ask questions about the mansion and not to enter certain rooms. At first, these warnings seem practical, but they gradually become symbolic. The mansion is a world where curiosity is discouraged, because curiosity threatens authority. Every dictatorship, every cult, and every oppressive institution survives by limiting what people are allowed to question. The film uses a haunted house to illustrate a truth about society. Oppression is the strongest when people stop asking why. One of the most disturbing scenes occurs when Thevan finally decides to leave the mansion. He walks toward the gate with determination, but every attempt makes him collapse in agony before he can cross it. On the surface, this appears to be a supernatural spell cast by Kodumon Potti. Philosophically, however, the scene represents psychological imprisonment. Throughout the history, people have remained trapped in abusive relationships, oppressive governments, or exploitative workplaces, even when the physical door was open. Fear convinces them that life outside is impossible. Rahul Sadasivan transforms that psychological reality into literal horror. The curse on the gate is a visual metaphor for the invisible prisons created by fear. As the days pass, Thevan realizes that he cannot even remember his own name or how long he has lived inside the mansion. This is one of the film's most profound moments because identity is the first casualty of oppression. A system that seeks complete control does not merely imprison the body, it slowly erases memory, confidence, and individuality. When a person forgets who they are, resistance becomes almost impossible. The film suggests that freedom begins not with escaping a place, but with remembering oneself. The supernatural loss of memory therefore symbolizes how domination strips people of their identity until they become obedient without needing physical chains. Another remarkable scene is the dice game between Kodumon Potti and Thevan. At first glance, it resembles a harmless game played between host and guest, but the game is fundamentally unfair because Potti controls the entire environment. Thevan believes he is participating in a contest of chance, while in reality every rule already favors his opponent. This scene deliberately echoes the dice game in the Mahabharata, where the Pandavas lose everything because they accept the rules established by Shakuni. Rahul Sadasivan uses this moment to demonstrate that power often disguises exploitation as fairness. The greatest trick of oppression is convincing people that they freely chose the very system that enslaves them. Perhaps the most fascinating revelation in the film concerns the Chathan itself. According to the cook, Kodumon Potti originally enslaved and tortured the Chathan after receiving it through occult practices. Even the Chathan rebelled, destroyed the family, and assumed Kodumon Potti's identity. At first, this appears to be a story of justice, but the film quickly complicates it. Once the Chathan gains power, it behaves exactly like its former master. It imprisons others, manipulates them, and enjoys domination. Rahul Sadasivan is making a profound observation about history. Victims do not automatically become just rulers. Sometimes they simply reproduce the same systems that once oppressed them. Evil survives because power changes hands without changing its nature. Near the climax, the cook reveals that the Chathan draws strength from an ever-burning lamp hidden in a secret chamber. Most viewers interpret this as another piece of supernatural mythology. But symbolically, the lamp represents the source that sustains every oppressive system. No tyrant rules by personal strength alone. Some depend on fear, others on wealth, religion, propaganda, or inherited privilege. Destroying the visible ruler accomplishes little if the source of power remains untouched. This is why extinguishing the lamp weakens the Chathan. The film argues that lasting freedom requires dismantling the system that nourishes tyranny, rather than merely replacing the individual at the top. One of the most important philosophical moments arrive near the end of the film. After defeating Chathan, the cook has an opportunity to wield the magical ring and become its new master. From a conventional storytelling perspective, this should be the moment where the hero claims victory. Instead, Thevan stops him. He realizes that the ring itself represents the temptation of absolute power. Whoever wears it may begin with noble intentions, but the authority it grants can eventually corrupt anyone. The film rejects the comforting belief that society only needs better rulers. Instead, it asks whether any human being can safely possess absolute power without eventually becoming another Kodumon Potti. The ending is deeply unsettling because it refuses to provide a simple victory. Although the mansion is destroyed, the Chathan survives by taking on a new identity and walking into a changing world, while the Portuguese army approaches the region. This final sequence suggests that evil rarely disappears. It merely adopts new form. Empires collapse, dictators fall, and oppressive systems are overthrown. But unless human beings confront their own desire to dominate others, history repeats itself. The true horror of Bramayugam is therefore not the existence of a supernatural creature, but the endless cycle through which power corrupts both rulers and the victims alike. If you were given absolute power, would you really be different from Kodumon Potti? I would like to know from all of you in the comment section below. If you enjoy exploring movies that hide profound philosophical ideas beneath their stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, remember, the most terrifying monsters are often the ones we create ourselves.